get the gavel.
Pick your choice.
Perfect. We'll call today's February 13th, Friday the 13th, Truckee River Flood Management Authority meeting to order we'll start with the roll call.
All right, Donald Abbott.
Here.
Miguel Martinez.
Here.
Alexis Hill. Here. Ed Lawson. Here. Naomi Dewar.
Here.
Clara Andriola.
Present.
All right, you have a quorum.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Do we have any public comment?
No, none at this time.
Perfect. Anyone here? No. Cool. Good item. Excuse me. Item C. We need to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah. My apologies. I know. I read right over that one. George, how about you lead us today?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll try not to do a hat trick next time. I'll keep better track. All right, cool. So we're good to go there. We've done public comment. We'll go item C, looking for an approval of the agenda for February 13th.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Dewar. It was quick draw. Quick draw McGraw's. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Item D, announcements and clippings. Mr. Robeson.
Okay, I have a few announcements. One is that we are working on having language included in this year's Word-a-Bill. One of the requests is to deauthorize the 1954 authorization to do stream cleaning and channel widening on the Truckee River. The reason why is it forces us into 408 and a core facility that we don't even know what the core facility is. So far, we've talked to several people about it. We have not seen any opposition locally to this. I have not talked to the Sacramento office about this, but I plan to, of the Army Corps. But anyways, that's to deauthorize that. That would make our future permitting on things like Rock McCarran much simpler. So that's one. The other one that we are asking for, and by the way, both senators, Congressman Titus and Congressman Amande, all four support these, is to do a actual more strong language regarding CFIA, which is the core loan program. Right now, it's focused on dams. However, there is language in there that says it should be, and that the key word is should, also include levees, flood walls, and flood structures. They don't currently have that in their guidance in the Corps. So this language makes it stronger language, so the Corps is compelled to put that in there instead of leaving it up to them to just, not just kind of bury it. Next thing that we have on my announcements is we have requests for qualifications for 3 projects coming in on Tuesday. That would be the North Bank levee in Sparks, the Tumwa levee and flood wall in Reno, and the airport berm in Reno. So all 3 of those are coming in on Tuesday. There is a lot of interest. We've had roughly about, it's more than 10 consultants want to be on our list. And each one of those probably has at least 5 teams that are interested, that are working on this. Next announcement is that the Rock McCarran is still on course. It's still on budget and on schedule, and it's looking like you will have a 30% design in April that we will be looking at. Finally, I gave draft CIP presentations to the county and to Reno and to Sparks, and those were all really well received. There was some interesting comments at the end at some of them, but they were well received. I'm not agendized to talk. I don't think I'm sure it'll come up, but we'll see. But anyways, nothing with the county. Lets me put it that way. So that's it for my announcements.
Mr. Chair. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, George, I wanted to compliment you on the presentation that you gave to Reno. I thought it was very thorough, and it gave the rest of our board a good update on what's going on. I think everybody really appreciated that. I did have a question on one of your announcements, and that was about the Section 208. So I wasn't really clear what you were saying. Are you saying that we would not do any clearing, snagging? I mean, we have a core project that I thought is managed by the state engineer or Department of Water Resources, and they have responsibility for the middle of section, which goes through downtown Reno and Sparks and Sparks along, and for maintenance, as I recall. But could you just explain this a little more?
Yeah, perhaps I could address that if you don't mind.
I don't-
First of all, we
great.
can't have too extensive a conversation here since
That's
we're in
fine. I just wanted to understand what he
So,
meant.
Yeah, under the 408 jurisdiction arises from the 1954
Right.
Project.
Right.
That was what they called a river enlargement.
Uh-huh.
There were no physical facilities constructed in conjunction with that project.
Yeah.
There's some legal authority out of the Ninth Circuit that 408 jurisdiction requires a Corps of Engineers physical facility
Oh,
in order to.
Not just an
in order to trigger jurisdiction for 408, not just a dredging or widening project.
Okay.
Because the idea of 408 is, it's actually a criminal statute. It's illegal to take a levee or flood wall or some other facility of the Corps of Engineers and use it for your own purposes and potentially damage it. And it allows for the Corps of Engineers to grant permission to use their facility for some purposes. That's where that arises. And that statute comes from 1880 at something. In any event, we're taking legally the position that there's no project there for us to interfere with, so no 408 jurisdiction. However, we also do not want to get into a long, drawn-out legal battle with the Corps of Engineers over this.
Right, okay.
And so the alternative is to deauthorize that project, which they no longer fund, which would be superseded by our project in any event.
well, yes and no, but we're not working with the Corps. We don't have a Corps project, right? I thought we were deauthorized.
No, that's exactly the point. The Corps exercises no control other than to require the state of Nevada to do a yearly cleaning.
Well, that's what I'm talking
And so
about.
that would be eliminated when our project is,
So the Corps would, I mean, the state engineer would not do yearly cleanup?
that's right. That would eliminate the agreement that they have with the
Well,
Corps of
I guess
Engineers.
maybe we can agendize this going forward, but my question
I think
is,
that would be wise.
and here's why I would like to. I'm not a big proponent of dredging or clearing, but there are there's impediments in the river, there's rebar in the river, there's fallen trees occasionally in the river. Is that going to fall to our local jurisdictions to maintain a navigable waterway? Or is that going to be not the state engineer involved anymore, where they have responsibility?
Can I interject? The way it works is the state engineer, and your Reno staff can testify to this as well as we can on our property, is they do an inspection and they tell us to clean it up. So it falls on like us to clean up if we have a piece of wood in the river along our property, we clean that up. If there's too much sediment above, say, Wingfield Park, that is actually under a different agreement. That's called the MARTIS agreement, but same kind of thing. They will actually compel the city to, hey, do some dredging there, clean that up. And so the state isn't paying for it. The state isn't doing it. All they do is the inspection and they tell people to clean up their mess.
That may be true. I just want to remind you that I did work for the state and they did have a line item budget of, I want to say, at least 50,000 or something to do this cleanup every year. They put it in their state budget. So anyway, you do what you think is right, but I would like a conversation here so we understand what our responsibilities are and if the flood project's now going to do the inspection, because at the end of the day, we do need to clear major debris out of the river, no matter who identifies it or who does the work. It's our job to ensure safety. So that's just what I wanted to understand how this would work going.
Yeah, and just one more thing to be clear, at the Second Street Bridge upstream, that is under the Martis Creek Agreement, which is another kind of like authorization because they built the Martis Creek Dam.
Sure.
Okay, so we're not going after that we're going after the lower river one because there is no facility.
Yeah. Well, anyway, if you could, a future agenda item would be appreciated, just to understand the ramifications.
Yeah, and maybe just to clarify where we are procedurally, this arose as a request from Senator Rosen's office. If we had anything, it moved very quickly. We worked in conjunction with our lobbyist, Marcus Faust. This is not in the bill yet.
Yeah, okay.
We just had a deadline to hit
Sure.
for any requests. And so we
There's no
expect this-
criticism intended, I'm just, it
No, I
was of
understand.
interest. And I just think as representative of 3 jurisdictions, we just need to understand
Absolutely.
what might change and what our responsibilities might be in a different way if this change occurs.
Right. And the executive director and I have been calling people. I've been in contact with the state already. We have a long list of people to discuss this with.
Okay.
And so that's in process.
All right, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Awesome. Any other questions for George? Perfect. Thank you, sir. We'll go on to consent items. Looking for a motion for consent items 2A to 2D.
So moved.
We have a motion by Ms. Andriola. A second by Mr. Martinez. Sorry, I heard that. Perfect. We have a motion and a second. Please, all in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Item 3, discussion and possible action to elect the 2026 TRFMA Board Chair and Vice Chair. Mr. Walls?
If you
I don't.
if you need me to say anything, you're required to elect a chair and vice chair by the ICA. If you are unable to elect a chair, the current chair will continue until one is elected.
Go for it.
Oh, thank you, Mr.
course,
Chairman.
Ms.
Well, I want to thank you for your service. You've been an amazing chair. I really appreciate it. And I think, is this your 3rd year? that
I
you
think so.
finished? Yeah, so thank you so much.
Mhm.
In the region, I feel like we have more peace when we rotate chairs. And so I'm suggesting that we raise up Mr. Well, hopefully Chairman Martinez and then Commissioner Andriola as Vice Chair. So that's my motion.
Well, okay, I'll second that for
There's a
discussion.
motion and a second, and go for it, Mr.
Well, I'm just saying for discussion.
Oh, I thought you had something to add.
No,
Apologies.
I just, well, I'll just support it. I'm totally fine. I'm going to put in a comment. I don't think we need to rotate chairs annually, but I do think we need to have some rotation periodically. And we haven't set anything up in our bylaws, and I'm not proposing that we do. I do think, just in the interest of, you called it peace and harmony, and I guess I'll second that. We're a collaborative agency, and it makes some sense to me. So I appreciate your motion, Ms. Hill.
Thank you.
Mr. Martinez?
Yeah, I was just wanted to, thank you so much, Mr. Chair. I wanted to ask, it sounds, Mr. Wills, there's been conversation about the bylaws and those changes. If there is any rotation in there, is it straight just election of the chair and vice chair at this point?
The bylaws do not speak to any kind of rotation. So it just strictly says every year you elect a chair and a vice chair. That's all that's said.
If it was the will of the board, is that something we can bring at a future item and discuss?
To amend the bylaws, yes.
Okay, perfect. That's all I was asking. Thank you.
Perfect. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? I will say it's been a pleasure serving. I don't mind rotating around. It's been fun. It's been a fun, I think it might have been, no, it wasn't. I thought it was my first chairmanship, but still was a fun time.
You've been great.
Oh, no.
And you've led
Gosh,
us also and the board into great communications with the public.
That's been
And
fun.
I think that you've also been instrumental to making sure that this board gets our act together and we're getting all of these projects started. So it's been
good.
a joy to see you lead us. So thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I have a comment too.
Yeah, of course.
I want to echo again Ms. Hill's comments because I think under your leadership, we have begun, and of course, George has a lot to do with this too, but it's under your leadership as chair that we've actually begun to get projects done. You've been there at each event. You were there at Wadsworth with, I was so happy to be there. And I just think you have kind of a let's go for it, get stuff done attitude that, I appreciate. And I really do commend you for that. And I really do think you have to not see this as any reflection on your leadership whatsoever. And I also want to make one other comment. You know, we have lots of boards in the region, and some, to Mr. Martinez's, have adopted a bylaws. And again, I'm going to reiterate, I'm not recommending that, but I just do think a kind of a natural progression makes sense to me. And I also want to draw a distinction between what I'll call some bigger boards. There's the ones that have money to do stuff, and that would include like RTC, TMWA, and this board. And then there's other boards that are more advisory, like the Homeless Advisory Board, or, you know, I can think of numerous. Animal Services is a good example. There's numerous boards that sit to advise, but really don't have any opportunity to make decisions on expenditures of funds and those kind of things. So I do, in my own mind, draw a distinction. Whether others do, I don't know, but I do. And I just think for your bigger boards, the ones that have those responsibilities make sense to me. So, thank you.
Awesome. Any other comments, questions?
I just want to
Sandra.
echo everyone, so just in the interest of not being repetitive, but thank you.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure. So we do have a motion and a second. All in favor, say, oh,
Mr. Chair, we need public comment.
that's why, that's why you guys are rotating me out. I see it. I see the writing on the wall. Do we have any public comment on this item?
Seeing none.
Okay, now we have a motion and a second. Please vote. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Congratulations. There's the gavel.
So much, sir. Thank you for your service. I know I have big shoes to fill, so I will do my best. Thank you. With that, we'll close agenda item 3 and move on to agenda item 4, a lease agreement with JL Capital Investment. I believe this is for Mrs. Crowley, our Chief Financial Officer.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Deborah Crowley with Truckee River Flood Management Authority. I'm here to just present the Fifth Amendment of our current office lease, and it is with JL Capital Investments. We've been there since, I think, 2013. And this would be, again, the Fifth Amendment to extend our current lease for 3 months. And the amounts of the lease are right here. They're approximately 3% increase each year over the current year. And the first year would be $6,416.82. The second year, $6,609.32, and then $6,807.60. The third year. And there are no other changes to the current lease. Here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Yeah, Commissioner Hill.
Well, I don't think this is a problem, you know, the change and the increase. It seems pretty reasonable to me. Have we looked at comps in the area and, you know, looked at other things? And I know that, you know, Commissioner Andriola and our board is embarking on potential government complex in downtown Reno, and maybe there's a potential that we just want to make sure that flood is part of those conversations, that that's appropriate, and what that would look like. So I'm not sure if you have any thoughts on that.
Ms.
I'm going to let Mike answer that question.
Yeah, I want to just say this really quickly. I had Mike do comps, and we looked at it, and this is actually below market. However, it's not the greatest building in the world,
Right.
but it seemed like a fair price for the level of building it was, and the 3% is right near where CPI is, so that's why. And the second thing, too, it's very expensive to move. The one thing I did do is I shortened it to 3 years from 4 years, anticipating there's 2 things going on. Sparks is doing their their complex. You guys are looking into a complex. If that's done in about 3 years, that would be good timing. So that's why I did it that way.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions from the board? Now I'll look for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion, a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously, it sounds like. Thank you so much, Mrs. Crowley. Move on to agenda item 5. Discussion and possible action to adopt proposed TRFMA resolution 2026-19. Mr. Wills.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The staff is recommending that the Board of Directors approve the Sparks-Lomar Interlocal Joint Funding Agreement, which provides $75,000 towards Sparks' revised North Truckee Drain FEMA floodplain mapping project. This work is necessary to allow Sparks to revise and remap the North Truckee Drain floodplain to support the submittal of a letter of map revision. And the work will be performed by House Moran Consulting under a separate contract with the city of Sparks. This work is part of TRFMA's larger effort to update the flood insurance rate maps, which is a prerequisite to the construction of the flood management project. In the past, TRFMA has directly funded engineering work on LOMARs and permanent map revisions in other areas of the Truckee Meadows. These efforts are necessary, of course, in order for us to get the project built. This joint funding agreement has to be approved by resolution by state statute, so hence the formality. Next slide, please. The terms of the agreement include the following. TRFMA will pay the city of Sparks $75,000 in fiscal year 2025 toward the Sparks revised North Truckee Drain FEMA floodplain mapping project. That amount constitutes the maximum total of the joint funding agreement for TRFMA. Those funds will be paid within 30 days after the approval of this agreement and the agreement between Sparks and House Moran. And then the city of Sparks will be contributing approximately $23,000 towards that work as well. The funds may only be used for the work that is performed pursuant to the agreement between Sparks and House Moran, and the items specifically listed in that scope of services. Those include, next slide, please. Revising the previous North Truckee Drain hydrologic model per FEMA comments, updating the Atkins-Reales HEC-RAS hydraulic model with peak flows from the revised HEC HMS model, preparing revised DFIRM floodplain mapping, preparing the FEMA submittal package. Not listed there. There are also some budget amounts for meetings with the city of Sparks and TRFMA. I would like to note that the agreement expressly provides that House Moran is not a party to this agreement between TRFMA and Sparks. They are not in privity and not a third-party beneficiary. And the joint funding agreement does not create any right, obligation, or liability between House Moran and TRFMA. Sparks will have the sole and exclusive responsibility to oversee the performance of the work performed by House Moran. The agreement terminates upon notification that all the work has been completed. If any funds contributed by TRFMA are not expended by completion of the work, any unexpended funds will be returned to TRFMA in proportion to the share of our contribution. So that possibility remains, or if the contract is terminated before completion as well. So with that, I will take any questions.
Are there any questions? Yeah.
Yeah.
Director Jones.
Well, first of all, I want to compliment the fact that it's my understanding that the flood project or this flood board has authorized funding to do all of this remapping. Is that correct?
The original PMR, we spent over $1 million.
That's what I'm getting at. So I just think that was very right to do, because as you pointed out, Mr. Walls, we had to do this remapping, like set a baseline before we do these projects so we know what the impact of the project is on up and downstream, right?
Correct.
So it makes a lot of sense. Our staff had sent a email over to George, and they asked for a list of specific FEMA remapping projects that TRFMA funded or co-funded. And the point was to understand the contribution And I was a little bit surprised, frankly, that Sparks was contributing. The 23,000 is what I heard you say. So the total project is 100,000.
Yeah, it's 98 something in that.
Well, I just want to make sure that that's fair to Sparks. You know, where I'm coming from is just that I just want to make sure that, you know, the flood project pays for as much as reasonable. And if there's a certain specific benefit to Sparks, okay, I get it. But I'm not, you know, I'm just wanting to make sure that, you know, these funds are being distributed equitably and that Sparks, not just Reno or Washoe County, you know, has the full payment that they would deserve. I'm going to speak to the letter a little later as whole, but that particular item was what motivated the question.
Okay, so as far as the agreement,
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for the city of Sparks on the reasons they are doing it this way, but this was in their interest. They approached this, wish to maintain control of this particular
Oh, I see.
process.
They're going to do it themselves.
Yes, exactly. So we're not overseeing the work, they are.
I
And
got
House
you.
Moran is their contractor. And so that was the system that they approached us with.
Okay. Well, I didn't understand the operational details either. I don't have a problem with them, but I just, you know, I don't know, all the contracts have been done. I haven't followed this flood remapping bouncing ball throughout time, which I think it's been going on like 3 years at least. I don't know who's paid for what or when, but I just want to make sure we're all partners here and that, you know, if it's critical for the flood project, I think it needs to be funded. So, but anyway, given what you've explained, I'm supportive of how you've gone.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, I'll look for a motion.
And public comment, just as a
Oh, yeah,
reminder.
thank you so much for the reminder. We all have our faults. Is there any public comment?
Seeing none.
We don't have any, so I'll look for a motion at this time.
All right, I'll make the, do someone else want me? You're good. Okay. Okay, well, I move to approve item 5 as presented by the flood staff.
And I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much, Mr. Wolves. We'll move on to agenda item 6, the discussion and performance evaluation of TRFMA Executive Director George Robeson. Looks
All
like,
right, 1 second, please.
yeah.
Okay, so the 2025 Executive Director Performance Evaluation was performed in the survey window of January 15th to February 5th. It reviews the period of December 2nd, 2024 to December 31st, 2025. All right, we conducted this review of participant groups, including the TRFMA Board of Directors, the TAC, Technical Advisory Committee, and external stakeholders. We asked about effective leadership in planning, communication and integrity, and overall evaluation. The response options are exceeds expectations, meets expectations, area for growth, or evaluator has no basis for judgment. We had responses from all 6 members of the Board of Directors, as well as 6 out of 15 participants of the TAC and stakeholders surveyed. For the all response summary, there was a total of 84 responses. 35% roughly said that he exceeds, 59% roughly says that he meets, and nobody said on anything that he needed improvement, and 4% said that there was no basis to evaluate. So this is the breakdown of the Board of Directors responses versus the tax stakeholders. Essentially, all board and tax stakeholder questions for which the respondent felt qualified to answer indicated that the executive director met or exceeded expectations. The board identified that the executive director provided strong strategic leadership, achieved key project milestones, and strengthened organizational leadership and outreach. And the TAC and stakeholder feedback summarized that the executive director is an effective and trusted leader, highlighted his strong communication and collaborative relationships, and his successful coordination on major projects, with no identified areas for improvement. Opportunities for continued focus, the board encouraged continued improvement in communication consistency, clarity of board-level information, openness to feedback, and visibility of staff contributions. And that's my presentation.
Thanks so much, Mrs. Swenson. Are there any comments or questions from the board?
I have one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Director Dewar.
In our last item on the flood management mapping, I mentioned what inspired the inquiry from myself and Mr. Martinez to our staff about funding of projects, and it was surely to ensure that Sparks, or if it had been Washoe County, getting their fair share of money from flood. But we got a letter, and I say we because it was sent to, I think, the whole board. Yes, I think so. I'm not sure.
It was not sent to the whole board.
Oh, just the chair and vice chair. So the only people it wasn't sent to were our Mr. Mayor and our Reno members. And the letter, it asked for three things. And it said, please provide a list of specific FEMA mapping projects that flood has funded or co-funded as discussed in the board. Simple request. Number two was our staff asked for the fact that the TAC get a 30-day review of materials prior to them being distributed to other agencies to review so that we could get the benefit of our technical staff into the flood project work products before they were shared more generally in a larger way with either the working group or the group at large. And the third request was at the TAC again, and again, myself and Mr. Martinez are not at the TAC. We don't really know what happens at the TAC, but they asked for updates of projects at the TAC meeting. These are simple requests. But I was really, and the reason I'm bringing up right now was that I felt that the response from Mr. Robeson, from George, was very defensive and argumentative and even threatening. And if you do this, then I'm going to do that, and we don't have enough staff. And I guess my response is that, and I'm going to be really direct, Mr. Robeson asked that we cut staff from flood. This was not a request from the board, to my knowledge. I never asked for it. I don't think anybody else did. Maybe they did. But it wasn't, we asked a lot of questions when staff were proposed to be cut. We were very worried about the workload. And I think one of the key roles of George in particular as the executive director is to keep us in the loop. You know, that's what we do at TMWA, that's what we do at every agency. I think RTC, they have individual briefings. I don't serve there, but you do, Ms. Hill. And, you know, it went on, and it was very defensive, and it really put me off. And it set a bad tone to some simple requests. If you can't do it, you just say, that's not going to work for us right now, maybe in the future, or here's why we do it this way, or whatever. But it was like, we're not being driven by Reno. You know, we're under tremendous timeframes. We don't have time for that. Reno's gotten more than their fair share of money. You know, all of these things, which, you know, nobody was challenging. In fact, the requests were driven to do a better job at the TAC level and to do a better job at our council commission level here in ensuring our partners are well taken care of. So I feel I wanted to bring it up now because it just happened. I know it's not under the period of review, but I'm very concerned about the tone and what it says to the partnership, and it seemed to be very angry. And I really put me off, and I know I'm just one person, and you got this as well, Miguel. I don't know what, you and I haven't even talked about it. I don't even know what your response, maybe I'm overstating it, but I'm just saying how it hit me. I think the requests were very reasonable. We are in a partnership. We have a TAC because we want to bring our technical members along. And we want the benefit of their knowledge and expertise in the project. And so I was just very surprised and saddened, frankly. So I'll leave it there.
Can I respond?
Of course.
Okay, so, no, only the Reno, okay, only the Reno people got this back. It was a request from Reno.
Yeah.
For basically, one of the things, the thing that set me off was before you do anything publicly, give us a 30-day notice and tell us what you will be saying and doing to the public. No other entity on the TAC has ever asked for anything like that. And I felt like there has been several times where the Reno staff has asked for things and had us do things that were above and beyond. And we did do them, by the way, like with Rock McCarran. We had special meetings and we spent sometimes 2 hours going through things and giving them much more information than we gave Sparks or Washoe County staff or other stakeholder staff. Okay, so we've been doing a lot of things. Secondly, everything that was requested was already available on our website, every last thing. And one of the things was the strategic plan was asked for. And that strategic plan was just actually shared in November, our very last meeting. And the people from the staff were there, the board members were there, and yet it was kind of like, well, you got to provide this for us. And it was at late in the afternoon on the day before. And we're like, why don't you just go to the website and get it? So we have been trying to provide everything to everybody. We don't get complaints from Sparks or from Washoe or from the PLPT or from any of the other stakeholders about our ability to provide information. Okay,
Okay.
whatever.
Well, thanks, George. I'll just quickly respond then, please, Mr. Chair.
Please.
I just want to say, just so you know, there's nothing in this request about a strategic plan. And there's nothing in about providing materials that were posted. What it does is it just asks for some process changes at the TAC. And in terms of 30 days to review materials, I mean, whether it's Sparks, Washoe, Reno, if a project's happening in your area, I think it's very important that the staff be brought along, just as you have, Sparks leading the project on North Turkey Drain. I mean, they're going to be extra involved. They're going to have extra briefing meetings or involvement with you. We're not. And so I just want to say, please consider the request. It's not a complaint. It wasn't phrased as a complaint. Just consider the request and see what you can do. If they need more information, they need more information. Again, myself and Mr. Martinez are not at these meetings. I can't speak to it. I'm sorry. So, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you, Director Dewar. I just wanted to make sure that we don't have any other questions or comments from any of the board members. I don't want you all to be sort of flying in the dark because you all didn't receive the information. So I want to make sure we are all out in the public and you know sort of what's happening. Director Hill, and then we'll go to you, Director Lawson.
Mr. Chairman, I just don't feel comfortable
Right.
talking about this
Yeah.
because
fine.
I haven't seen anything. I don't know if I can weigh in on it on the
That's all right.
review. I feel like, but I appreciate you raising it and potentially it sounds like there needs to be some work done between Reno and Flood and hopefully our director is willing to sit down with Reno and talk about it.
I have been sitting down with Reno and talking about it. And I think that, I feel like that we have done extra work with Reno already. We've provided every bit of information that was requested yesterday already. And to ask us for the information again, and then ask us that whenever we go public, we have to talk to Reno 30 days in advance about what we're doing and provide this. And it's like, that isn't, nobody else is asking for that. And I feel like it's an overreach and a micromanagement of our agency. And frankly, if the board wants to do it that way, we can vote on that and we'll do it that way. But I don't like one entity dominating and telling us how we're going to do things.
I just don't know the details of what the request was. And so I just think there's obviously work to be done. And,
Well, I'm bringing it up because of, it goes to future challenges.
yeah.
Sorry, future direction, and I would love to see it be more collaborative and to understand, maybe they haven't spoken, I can't speak to it, but I do want to just support our staff and getting as much information as they can, particularly on projects that are done in Reno's jurisdiction. And that's it, there's no more to it, but I was astonished by the tone of the letter, and it made me pause, and it's outside this review period, it's about the future. And that's why I'm bringing it up right now, is I would like to see, call them or say, let me look into this or something, but there's no need for a sharp rebuke, like you're the only ones who want this, and, that kind of response. So I'm gonna leave it there, enough said, I understand. Look, yesterday I was at a meeting and I was being asked to vote on something, and several of you were there. And I wasn't at the meeting, I didn't know what happened, I didn't know what was said, and Ms. Andriola came up with a good motion to kind of, send it in a proper direction that it needed to be. And I understand we're in the same situation again where something happened, the whole board wasn't privy to it, but it did affect one partner fairly deeply. I mean, I haven't even talked to our staff yet, but I'm only speaking for myself and what I would like to see going forward. So that's all. And it doesn't change my comments on what happened in the past.
Thank you, Director
Okay.
Dewar. Do you have anything else, Director Hill, before I move on? Okay, Director Lawson.
Yeah, I know nothing about this deal. I completely trust George in what he does. I don't think I can understand frustration in a tone of a letter. I'm pretty well, let me try to phrase this
Saying
correctly.
you might fit that.
I might exactly fit that model that I call bullshit when I see it. So the bottom line is, I'm not concerned with one action. I think bringing this up under an evaluation of his performance over the years
Yeah.
is not the place to do it. It should
Okay.
have been done in private. It should have been done with the lawyer or human resources in the room. And then if it rose to that level, come to the board. But in no way will that change my mind as to his aptitude.
Well,
and
it didn't
ability to
change
do
my
the
mind
job.
either, Mr. Lawson, it did not. It's about the go forward, which we're talking about here, as I understood, is what can be approved, and that's my recommendation. I'm not censoring George, I'm not asking for a lawyer review or HR review. I'm giving you unbiased, just like you would. And it happened right the day that this is happening. I've had no time to talk to George. I mean, I got the letter late in the evening, and that was that. It was after work hours even, so.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you have anything else, Director Lawson? Thank you. Director Andriola.
Thank you. I just would like to ask you, Mr. Chair, that we bring back this item to talk about the period and the review to which this is. And although I think it's always great to bring up things that may be needing attention, I think it also could be at a broader level, at a regional level, where everyone to a certain extent is equally given the opportunities and the same opportunities and working through whatever it might be. And I think those are things that can be discussed, and if it needs to be agendized, then we can talk about what that is to ensure equity. But I just want to say that I really appreciate, I'm just going to bring it back from my perspective, back to what this agenda item for the review period of December 2nd, 2024, December 31st, 2025, and understand that everyone may have opportunities to look at future goals and that kind of thing. But I think that the short period of time that I've been on this board, and certainly many have been here much longer than me, the passion that you bring, George, to this, and the community long after I'm gone, I'll speak for myself only, is really a testament to your commitment for why the Truckee River Flood Management Authority was put into place, and even the groundwork that Member Dorr set long time ago. So
Don't remind me how long.
Yeah. I mean, the fact is that you should be commended for your dedication, the staff's dedication. I really believe that allowing even an opportunity for staff to kind of even participate in some of the presentations and really look at that as an engagement opportunity, I think is something that I wanted to just bring up, but it's clear that everyone really cares. I think I'll end it by saying the way that you have also navigated with what I'll call some pretty some not traditional steps in a government way, and the deauthorization and working with Mr. Wools and looking at how to compromise with some things like, you know, the McCarran project and Flatfields, and trying to do everything you can to make everyone feel that they are heard and that they are treated equally. But the bigger piece is the compliance balance and then the long-term mission of what this body is for. So I want to thank you for your hard work and recognize your dedication and commitment to holding sometimes not an easy job. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Andreoli. We'll move on to Director Abbott.
Yeah, I'll keep it a little short as well. George, obviously, we got to work together for a while, and just focusing on this agenda item and, you know, during the period of time that we're set to be evaluating you, I think you've done a fabulous job of, you know, and you and your whole team too. There's a shout out to everyone out there and everyone back at the office too. Well, I guess there's probably only one person back at the office right now, but definitely, you know, we have a lot of great projects happening that are truly going to be impactful for not just Reno Sparks, but the whole Northern Nevada area, that there's even a great leader on it all. And, you know, I think we always have ways to improve. There was nothing, I don't think, listed up there, but I think we all know at times what we can do better. And I think you have always been willing to listen to our conversations. We've had some great phone conversations over the couple of years, and I definitely appreciate your leadership there. And hopefully, you know, looking forward to you serving for, I know, a couple more years. I hope we have you. And that's all I have. So I'll pass it back to you, Chairman.
Thanks so much, Director Abbott. We'll move on to Director Dewar.
Yeah, thank you. As to the current review, I actually gave George quite high marks on a number of things. And the thing that, you know, most impressed me, and I actually mentioned this yesterday when he came to Reno, was that he's actually got started on some projects that are very important to the community. The Wadsworth project, very important. The new project that we're undertaking in Reno on the berm has been on the books literally since the beginning of the flood project. So very, very long time. It's going to provide some level of flood protection for downtown Reno, not 100-year by any chance. That's bringing it up to 75-year. But every move is important, and we're basically responding, I think it is, to the whole Martis Creek project and that effort and the conservation group. And so the bias towards action is something I really appreciate, but it's more than that. I also appreciated the amount of work that went into Flood Awareness Day, the notices about, you know, potential flooding that got integrated into the news media. And, you know, perhaps I should have led with this, obviously, because this is my general review for last year. But so that's where I'm at. And I will say maybe gave George a little lower remarks on communication issues. And this is sort of reflective of that, you know, the issue I just brought up. And I wasn't meaning to have the whole board involved in that issue. I was meaning to let them know that I'm concerned about it, a communication issue. And that's really where it sits. So I thank you, George, for a good year. I really think, I don't know if I wrote this, but I think it was one of your best. I truly do. And that's where I sit. So thank you.
Thank you, Director. Yeah, Director Hill.
I concur. I think that this has been a great year, and I think that you've grown a ton, and the community outreach you've done has been really impressive. So thank you so much. And I feel like you really listened to the board, and it's been great to see the progress of the project, and you've ensured that the community has been moving along with us and the outreach, and I'm just very impressed. So thank you for that. To Mr. Wolves, could you remind us what we did last review as far as the contract? And because it was, I remember we gave a it was the weirdest thing that we did. I love you, Mr. Mayor, but we gave a bonus to incentivize ending the flood project early. Was it like can you remind me? what
Yeah,
we did?
I can't recall all of the changes we made to the contract at that meeting. However, it was extended, as I recall, to the end of 2027.
Right.
And it has a provision that provides for a $35,000 bonus if he remains as executive director to the end of the
That term.
contract.
The contract, okay. So
That's
we
where
don't
that
have to
is.
make any changes today necessarily, or,
No, no, you do not. The
Okay.
contract remains in place. I believe there is a request on the table for some additional money, approximately a 5% increase.
a 5% bump? Okay.
Um,
And what did our staff get? Do we know what everyone got as far as the
Well, we're-
county
Let me
contracts?
handle that one. So the county staff is on steps, and so they got their step increases, which are like merit increases. The three contract employees, we have one number. So that would be Deborah, Michael, and myself. The way we get merit increases is from the board.
Sure.
So,
But what was the staff, just so I know the equivalency, what was the staff?
usually
salary?
there's about 5%
It's
between
5%.
steps, not exact, but roughly 5% between steps.
Okay. I don't have a problem with the 5% request.
Before we move into the motion, I'd just like to add some comments to the record. I also would like to echo a lot of what's already been said. I think Director Robeson has done a great job of increasing his communications with us as a board, with the other stakeholders, the renewal of the website and making it more accessible to the public is very welcoming and allows for more input, I think, from our community members to be able to navigate and understand what the project entails. I also think you've been consciously making efforts to be more open to feedback and receptive of that dialogue. It did seem when I first got on that there was a little hostility or tension to the openness, but you seem a lot more open to those conversations. So I just wanted to reiterate all of that. And I think the numbers paint a great picture, but I think reading through the comments really helped solidify what we all are saying, what we're seeing. And so just wanted to appreciate all the work that you and your staff have put in to make sure that the Wadsworth Bridge, Mill and McCarran project move forward, Vista Narrows is moving forward. And despite some of the challenges that you've occurred, you always seem to be optimistic and hopeful that these projects will move forward a lot faster than they actually do. So I appreciate your optimism there.
Thank you.
Do you have any comments or requests, or if not, we can look for a motion? Doesn't sound like it. Yeah.
I'll make a
Director
motion to
Andrilla.
accept the evaluation and include the 5% that was recommended.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Director
Thank you.
Robeson. Move on to the next agenda item. Agenda item 7, report and discussion of the performance evaluation for TRFMA General Counsel Michael Wolves. Director Robeson.
Do we have to ask for public comment?
Public comment. My apologies.
I missed it too.
Oh,
I gotcha.
since we took a vote, do we have to reopen it?
Ask for public comment and retake the vote, yes.
Okay, we will reopen agenda item 6. And is there any public comment on agenda item 6?
Seeing none.
Okay, with that, we have a motion and a second, and then we'll vote for item 6, the evaluation of TRFMA Executive Director George Robeson. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. I'll do my best to remember to include public comment.
Thank you again.
With that, we will move forward with agenda item 7, the report and discussion of the performance evaluation of TRFMA General Counsel Michael Wolves. Director Robeson.
Yeah, before I make this evaluation, I want to put this in the context of what we're embarking on this year. We are going to take on 3 new design projects on Tuesday. We're going to have to evaluate them, we'll have to bring them out. For instance, Mike is going to have to work on those contracts. There'll be a lot of extra work coming our way. And this year, we did a lot more work than we normally do. So I've asked my staff to step up. I've asked everybody, including Deborah, Danielle, our new employee, Matt, and Marty. Well, I don't even have to ask her to step up. She just steps up. So I have to tell her to calm down, mostly. But having said all that, that's the context of this review. And when you look at his review, I'm doing the standard county form, because in the past, what we did is we tried to do a review like mine, and the board said, we don't have enough interaction to really make a review like that, so you just review them. And so what I've looked at is he meets or exceeds in categories. He has no categories for improvement. I haven't given him anything like that. But here's my overall comment. Mike continues to work proactively, and proactive work is I really love it when employees are working proactively on issues to help us get ahead on projects. An example of this work on issues such as how we will legally deal with the moving of the river at Rock McCarran. So that's, down the road a bit, but he's actually looking at how that will affect us legally. There's a city limit there. And so we have to deal with that. We have to deal with who owns what when you move the river. And so he's working through that legal issue. He's also a helpful advisor that I can turn to ask historical questions. He is our institutional memory, him and Danielle are. And so I can go, well, when they did this, why did they do that? What were they thinking? That kind of thing. So he provides that kind of a backdrop for me, because I've only been here for 7 years. And there was a lot of history before that. So I lean on him for that. And he also has a water law background. So he's not just a conventional lawyer that can do contract law, but he's a water law lawyer. And that has helped us a lot with some of our problems, because we are working on a river, and there's conveyances coming off the river, there's ditches, there's water rights. And that has been very helpful, and not every lawyer off the street would be able to handle that. He is able to handle that. The other thing, I say it in the other issues as well, is he's continually trying to learn. He's working on his ABA, learning, and really trying to focus it on areas that are relevant to this job. So he's a continual learner, and that's something else I love about employees when they do that and proactively doing that. So because of that, he got it overall exceeds expectations, and he's a great employee and a great resource. And I also did a salary evaluation in 2020, effective about late 2023 in the fall. In November, he received a raise. So it's been about 2 years since he's had a raise, a merit raise. He gets COLA raises. And I felt like since we skipped last year, it would be good to give him a merit raise this year for all the work he's going to be doing this year, because we're going to be putting, a lot of stuff on him, contracts, lots of things coming up for him to do work on. I just think he should be rewarded for that. And that's really the rest of my report. I'll be open for any questions. 5%. Yeah.
Yeah, any questions or comments? Director Hill?
I'm ready to take a motion when you want to do public comment.
Oh, nice.
They helped you. They didn't do that.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, Mr.
if I
Wilson.
may, this agenda item does have one more request for my contract. For reasons I don't quite understand, my original contract dealt with my sick leave differently. And so I'm simply asking that that clause be brought, just so that I'm handled the same as other county attorneys. So not asking for anything special there, just asking for that to be corrected.
And that will be equivalent that will be equivalent to what Deborah has in her contract as well, if it's changed. Deborah's contract has it, his doesn't. So it's kind of created an imbalance.
Want to keep it or you want to get rid of it?
I want him to have what Deborah has.
That's the equivalent.
And it's in our recommendation, provide additional comments, move the sick leave amendment that is attached to this, and then possible action to give him a merit raise.
Just for clarity, can you describe the discrepancies from what you currently have to what you're asking?
Well, the language I'm requesting would change the section dealing with sick leave. It will be amended to read, unused sick leave shall be paid upon termination of employment in accordance with the provisions of the collective bargaining agreement with the supervisory administrative negotiating unit of the Washoe County Employees Association. For some reason, that original contract was dealt with differently. Not to bore you with the history, the contract was originally written with another attorney in mind who was a county employee, and I don't know if that had something to do with it or not, but that just carried forward and wasn't something that we noticed at the time.
Okay, thank you. Not seeing any more comments, I'll ask for public comment.
We do have public comment from Ellen. Ellen, could you state your full name for the record and go ahead?
I have only a public comment. This is Roger Jacobson. I work with Mike on a regular basis, and because we have the facility there at 5305 Mill Street, and he's been great to work with, always very responsive, keeps on top of things, and we really appreciate all he's done to help us.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you
Is
so
there any
much.
other public comment? Seeing none?
Director Dewar,
Yeah, did we get a motion?
not yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to commend Mr. Wolves. I mean, to get a member of the public to comment on your work,
Yeah,
usually attorney's invisible.
this is a first.
Notice my wife did not call in, I'll just say that.
Well, anyway, kudos on that and commend you for your good work. And so I'd like to make a motion to approve the staff recommendation.
We have a motion.
I'll second.
Second, okay. We have a motion, a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Mr. Wills. With that, we'll move on to agenda item 8, report discussion of the performance evaluation of TRFMA Chief Financial Officer Deborah Crowley. Director Robeson.
Yeah, and now we have another review, and this is for Deborah Crowley, and she has been our, first of all, she was brought in as at a lower level than what she was actually working. And she was a good sport for a while, and she did a lot more work than what her she worked out of class. And I got her an out of class, and then finally got her to be a CFO, which is what she actually is. And she meets expectations as a CFO. She far exceeded the expectations at that lower level because she was working out of class. And she is someone that has worked with me tirelessly to try to control costs. We have worked with the county on a bunch of things, where money was going out and things like that, and we didn't have good control over it. We worked tirelessly on some of our contracts with certain consultants and others to get those costs down. And right now, we're right around $75 million saved up. And that will allow us to actually finish this project. I mean, without that money saved up, we can't borrow enough money to do this project. So it's been integral for her. We've worked together closely on this. She's done a tremendous job of just watching the costs. And since she's been here, we've had no exceptions on our on any of our audits except for a longstanding issue with the county that's out of her control. We've been commended every time for how well we have our controls and everything set up. The budget has been, we've always got great budget letters from the state on our independent budget. And really, she has to budget with the county and then an independent budget with the state. And she does a great job of walking the fence on that. And so she's a very valuable employee, and this is somebody, once again, that I had great comments for, and I think you read them. But I will want to say this, that I did say that she, like Mike, really, she was moved up to CFO at the 2023 fall. And it's been 2 years, and I think she should get a 5% as well. And that's my recommendation, that she does get a merit increase and that you accept this evaluation for her.
Are there any comments? Yeah, Director Andriola.
Thank you. So it's hard to hear when someone's working out of class. It's just, and I don't want to do the female card, but I'm going to. Because that is a common thing that happens. And I'm not saying it's intentional. And I'm not at all, I'm not implying, but I feel that the fact that she did work out of class, she was definitely qualified. I feel that the 5% merit, I'm fine, but I feel that there should actually be an additional compensation or bonus to at least provide an opportunity to make her whole in the best way possible. So I don't know what that looks like, and so I'm not sure. I know I'm throwing this at you at this moment, but I'm not sure what your recommendation might be. But I feel that I just can't move forward on approving something knowing that she was a team player, certainly appreciate it, but people's value actually needs to be compensated to the level of what they're bringing to the organization. And so with that, I don't know creatively if there's an opportunity. I don't mean to throw a wrench in the engine here, but
Could I make a suggestion?
please.
So we worked on this from very early on. For one, she started off at 32 hours, which, you know, considering all the work I wanted her to do was ridiculous, so I had to get her up to 40. Then I tried to get her to a higher class, and I was head-butted for a while too long. And that's finally why I went to this route with the contract employee. And I think you're right. I think it was wrong that she was not recognized for what she was doing. And I think a lot of it was, well, you're a small agency. You only have 6 employees, but we have a $12 million budget. And we have a lot of different things. We have so many contracts coming in. So those were not recognized properly. So in my opinion, I would think a good start to just say, you know, we value you, we're sorry about that, is a $10,000 bonus.
Consider it done. If there aren't any further, I'm ready to make a motion unless there's further comments.
I think we need public comment
You need
before that.
public comment.
Yes,
It was a
I have a
test.
very
Good job.
supportive board, so thank you. Do we have any public comment?
Seeing none?
All right, with that, we'll look for a motion.
I'd like to move that we include with Ms. Crowley the 5% merit and a $10,000 bonus.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Ms. Crowley. Thank you, Director Rosen. We'll move on to agenda item 9, presentation and update the status of the Vista Narrows design agreement with Atkins North America, Inc. Is this you, Director Robeson?
It's both myself and Danielle Henderson, our natural resources manager.
Okay.
Why don't you forward it for us? In these matters, whatever's safer. So we don't. Okay. Oh,
Unless you want to do that again. Do you want to do that again?
no, please no.
I don't want to deprive anyone of an opportunity. Mr. Chair, I didn't mean to.
Okay, so go ahead to the second slide, please. Okay, so I just want to reiterate one more time, I'm sorry this bores you probably, but just one more time for maybe somebody that doesn't understand why Vista Narrows comes first. It's really that figure right there. That's what that's basically showing in the yellowish green and the dark green is a a slight water level drop in the Hidden Valley area on the UNR farms, in the area around Pembroke. And that is why it has to come first. That is with the full project effect. When when the full project dries out the airport, dries out the industrial areas, it will make it so there's a higher peak going through, and it will, it would without Vista Narrows, it would cause flooding where that green is. It would make it higher, significantly higher. With Vista Narrows, it brings it to basically a no-rise condition or a slight drop. And that's what we didn't want to do it any more than we had to. And we worked with the PLPT on that, and we got an amount of 2,400 CFS, no more than 2,400 CFS. And so we're designing it so it meets those criteria. And anyways, that is why it is first. That's why we need to do this. So when we cut off all those other flood storage areas that are damaging and cause all kinds of economic trouble, we're not, hurting these people. The water does go downstream, but everything is mitigated or minimized downstream. Next slide, please. So the Vista Narrows, just as a quick overview again, it is reduced now to 3 terraces at this point. The levee flood wall part of this, that was once part of this project, is now part of the Sparks North Bank project. But these 3 terraces are what's critical to regulate the flow of the water in this zone. And basically what we are doing is widening out the river. We are not digging it down. We are widening it out, and in these 3 areas to allow the water level to drop. And that way the water level upstream drops. Next slide, please. So we have already gotten to about 65% on our design. That design was given to us in November of 2019. And at the last meeting, we actually had approved by the board here approximately 1.8 million for further design to the full design and to getting bid documents out for building this thing. And we anticipate that this will be done early next year. We will have it ready for bid early next year. And so the components of this design, and I'm just going to go through this little list real quick and tell you where we're at. They are actively doing more data collection, especially looking at things like utilities, especially getting more information on geotechnical. They're working on easements. They're actually already working on the specifications. They are not really on the drawings yet because we just did this in late November. They are working on a bid support, but that's not really gotten very far yet. They did actually go back and do a cost analysis, and they said my cost, well, they gave me the number, it was less than what I had. So that was good news to me because I was being conservative and I was inflating it, because it's been 6 years. I guess I inflated it a little too much, which to me, that was really good news. And then we're also going to be doing value engineering here as part of the analysis. That's not done yet. We want to get some modeling done so we can do this very carefully. But we think we can save literally millions of dollars by really taking a second look at this and making sure that how we design this thing is kept in mind to be done efficiently with the dirt and everything else. And then we're also evaluating changes in the utilities, which I've already said. And then there's permitting support in this contract, which is the Vista Narrows, and we'll have Danielle talk about in a minute because we still are working on the permitting. However, since October, I've been trying to be real clear about this, and I know people say different things, but since October, there has been a tremendous amount of progress made on the permitting front. Yeah, I would say from October to today, there's been more progress done from the Corps side than was done in the previous 5 years combined. So there's been a lot of work on that, and I'm very grateful to the Corps for really taking this on and starting to get this done. And then there's general support and overhead plus meeting coordination. And they will be helping us. We will not do as much outreach as Rock McCarran, but we will be doing outreach. We've just refigured our meetings. We used to call them working groups. We are now calling them, what am I calling them? We're calling them workshops.
Community outreach workshop.
Workshops. And the reason why is we want to make sure that it's emphasized that this is a community outreach. These are workshops where they get to input because that's really important for permitting and showing that we did community outreach. And also we want to send a signal to the community that we do community outreaches. And we're going to have one of these at the end of the month to kind of talk about the general Vista Narrows, where we are now and how we're going into the final design. And there'll be future ones still on the 30% design of Rock McCarran, et cetera, et cetera. So we will have several of those this year for the different projects. Next slide, please. So the timeline, and you can read the whole slide. It's available on our website now. But the bottom line is that the procurement, the bidding services, that's coming out in January to February of next year is what the schedule is. Right now, the schedule is holding. So we're just getting started, but they're making progress already, and we're really happy. And one of the things they really need to help us with is the specifications, because that's a need for permitting, and that is a great segue to the next slide and Danielle.
Okay. Thank you very much, Director Robeson, members of the board. Danielle Henderson, for the record. I'm just giving you very brief highlights and a status update on the permitting and environmental work that's going on with the Vista Narrows contract. Like George mentioned earlier, we did make substantial progress in 2025, and it's been very positive. In July, we submitted an updated application package to the Corps of Engineers, and that actually included a draft environmental assessment. The Corps of Engineers, Section 408 staff, as well as the Office of Counsel, took some time to review those documents and provided us comments at the end of October. And then we worked with our consultant team and revised the draft EA based on those comments and feedback. We also put together a response to their comment log. We sent all of that back in December 2025. And so now we're sort of in this next review period with them. I will say, moving forward in 2026, we do have a few outstanding items that we're working on for the Corps, things that they commented on and gave us feedback on, and we need to do some additional work on in order to satisfy those concerns and comments. We are moving forward, as George mentioned, to 100% design with our incumbent team, which includes Nancy Kong for environmental services and Couts Environmental Consulting for the cultural resources work. Right now, we just started on some additional hydraulic modeling work with our consultant team to better characterize the effects of just the Vista Narrows floodplain terracing project, as opposed to the entire flood project at full build out. This is something that we want to really clarify in the NEPA documentation, the EA, and in the project description, so that there's no confusion. And so the consultants are just getting started on that work. We're hoping to have that done, say, within the next 4 to 6 weeks. It's not a heavy lift, but we will use that information to update the EA and those documents again. We had placeholders in the document that we gave to the Corps of Engineers in December. So we're going to be filling in those blanks and hopefully getting comments on that sort of draft final EA. The other thing that needs to be included in the EA is the completed cultural resources report. We're continuing to coordinate with tribal representatives. We also sent out letters to various historical and trails groups. We haven't received any responses from them as of yet, One of the things that the cultural resources consultant is working on with the Corps of Engineers is an evaluation of the area of potential effect. The other thing that they're working on is a request from some tribes, tribal representatives, to designate the Truckee River as a traditional cultural place. So those are things that ultimately the Corps of Engineers needs to determine and address, but we're trying to put together information to allow the Corps to make a good, to evaluate those items and make a good decision on how to proceed. As George mentioned earlier, the other outstanding item for that documentation is to provide some more detailed specifications to the Corps, and we are planning to do that at 90% to give them an opportunity to provide feedback. So that's kind of what's going on with the Section 408 permit. That's the main permit that we're trying to get from the Corps of Engineers to build the project. And if we go to the next slide, please. We do have other environmental work that's getting started as part of the 100% design phase of this project. We recently submitted an application to the Bureau of Land Management, and this is requesting permission to build facilities on federal lands. There is a portion of BLM land that is within the project reach. So we submitted those application materials and we have made contact with their office, so that's in progress. We also reinitiated coordination with NDOT about the Vista Narrows project and the I-80 East widening project. We're coordinating with NDOT in terms of NEPA requirements, and also the design team is going to be preparing an encroachment permit application in the future. I think the main thing that's been brought out recently is that the potential timeframes for construction of the I-80 East widening project and the Vista Narrows project overlap. And so the teams are gonna have to be really good about coordinating schedules, logistics, traffic, all of that sort of thing, because of course we'll be excavating, they will too, and we'll have lots of truck traffic. So that's sort of on the horizon. Our team is also performing some additional hydraulic modeling work to really refine the floodplain terrace geometry. And this is in order to hopefully minimize the bank stabilization that's required for the project. We do have some areas right now at the 65% design level that require riprap. We're proposing vegetated riprap with willow poles to try to soften that and make it more environmentally palatable, especially to the regulatory agencies. But as we refine these models, there is an opportunity that perhaps with changes in velocity and changes in shear stress against those banks, if we can reduce that, perhaps we can reduce these areas of riprap, which would be great. And finally, we just started working with the design team on logistics for plant materials. We have the construction of the project, and then we have the revegetation of all of these terraces that we're excavating. And, you know, we really want to ensure the highest level of success that we can with that revegetation effort. And so whether or not the construction contractor is responsible for obtaining those plant materials, whether or not we hire a separate revegetation contractor, you know, our agency still has to have some oversight on that. And the goal is, you know, we need to obtain and grow these plant materials in advance so that they're ready to be planted when the terraces are excavated. And so we want to be efficient about that, minimize the amount of time that those terraces are just raw dirt. And also, again, just try to ensure the highest success of that revegetation effort. And with that, that's my update on permitting and environmental. And George and I are certainly happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you so much, Director Dewar.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to hear from you, Danielle. I don't know that we've had a presentation from you in a while, but it's great to just hear a different voice speaking. A couple questions. You mentioned EA. Do we stop with the EA? Is there a chance this turns into a EIS request, or how does that work?
That would remain to be seen, but as we're moving through NEPA, helping the Corps. Right now, it's an EA.
Okay. So when you said section 408, is that different from the section 408 that they want to rescind that we heard about earlier?
No, go ahead.
Perhaps I
Michael,
could address
please.
that. The efforts we're making on the deauthorization do not affect this project. And we conscientiously did that because we want this to keep moving. It's close enough that it needs to move forward. You'll note, however, that we put significant effort, time, and money into the 408 permit. And so for future projects, we're hopeful that we can streamline that.
So you think if we got, if it was deauthorized or whatever the change you're asking for, we wouldn't go through this?
You'd still have to do so for the 404 permit.
404, okay.
But it would just affect the 408 permit, and there are some extra requirements for
Okay.
that, so.
And then another couple questions. Just to recap, I think you said that you should be done permitting in a year. Is that what I heard?
We are hoping to have construction bid documents ready by next year, early next year.
So when
The
we say year,
permitting-
is it a calendar, is it the calendar year? Like next year, is that?
If we can work with the Corps to get the permit by the end of this year, that would be ideal.
Is this year, though, the calendar year? Are
I
you
would
saying
say, yes,
2026?
Calendar year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're hoping to have it done within like 9 months or a year, right? The permit.
Right, but we can push the permit as far as we can. We can provide the Corps with as much assistance as we can, but we're not in the driver's seat on that.
I understand, but
So,
your goal right now.
yeah, goal would be end of calendar year.
Okay. And then you
Or
could,
sooner.
oh, okay. I just trying to get this generally in my head. So then would construction, you want to get the construction plans together, would that be starting in 2027 then?
Yes, it was
Okay.
fall of 2027 or
No,
early
the
2028.
bid documents would be going out the very beginning of 2027, so like January of
Right.
2027.
Right. And then you would get those back in like 3 months or something and start.
Usually you let a bidder have about 6 weeks or 4 to 6 weeks to put together a bid, and then you would evaluate the bids and accept one.
Yeah, right. So that's why I said about 3 months from January, February, March. So maybe we could be beginning construction in spring in 2027?
I would doubt that they'd be able to turn around that
Oh,
fast,
okay.
but they might
Summer.
start in the fall of 2027.
Fall, okay. And then what are you expecting for this project? Like a 2-year or something construction period?
That's solely based on what the contractor wants to throw at it. Some contractors will probably be aggressive and try to do it all in 1 year.
Oh,
And some contractors may want to do it over 2 years.
Okay.
It's just how they'll approach it.
Okay.
It's possible to do it in a year.
All right.
But sometimes, that's a lot of
I'm
iron
a more
out there.
reality-based person,
Yeah,
so 2
yeah.
years. So where I'm really going here is if we're constructing, do we have to construct Vista Narrows before we, let's say, move on to Mill and McCarran?
Yeah, from a cost standpoint, we would want to do that. And we would also want to have that in place so that we control the flows, so we're not flooding more or adding to that.
Right.
Like that doesn't change from green to red, for instance.
Okay, well, I'm
Yeah.
just, all of this
Yeah.
makes sense. I'm just trying to make sure I got
Yeah.
it
Yep.
here. And so maybe we would begin in 2029 or 2030, the Mill and McCarran?
Could start as early as 2028.
Okay.
However, we still have to secure
Get
the
the permits
property.
there, right?
We
Oh,
have to
property.
secure the, that's going to take some time. And we still have to do the 100% design on that, which could start as early as next year.
Okay. On the design, but not the
Or Rock
construction.
McCarran, yeah.
I just want to make sure you have to finish this before you do the other one, right?
Yeah, that's the plan, is to
Okay.
have this finished so
All
that we
right, last
don't
question.
flood.
Well, maybe last question was, you mentioned in this presentation changing what you had called the working group to community outreach workshops. And I wondered, are you planning a regular schedule those or just sort of as needed that you, like every quarter or something? What's the plan here?
They are set up as a monthly meeting. We often cancel them.
Okay.
However, we will probably have several of these this year because of all the projects we have out right now.
Okay, so maybe a quarterly basis, like I'm saying, you schedule them every month, but then maybe it comes out that there's 4 of them in a year or something.
Yeah, we
So-
may have like 4 in a row and then maybe
Okay.
not have one for a couple months.
All right, yeah, I get it. All right, thank you. Just,
Thank you, Director Dewar. Are there other questions, comments? No, I don't think this is for action, so
It's informational.
do we still have to take public comment if it's information?
You may if you wish, and you'll be following that with another immediate public comment period, so
Okay.
as you wish.
We will ask if there is any public comment on this item.
Seeing none.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much, and we'll close that item and move on to our item number 10, public comment. Is there any public comment? Closing public comment?
Still seeing none.
Okay, with that, we will close our closing public comment and move on to board member comments, requests, and future agenda items. Yeah, Director Hill.
Thank you. I just want to celebrate a fellow board member whose birthday is today.
Oh, congratulations.
And so just think of Commissioner Andriella today and her
We're not gonna
commitment
do
to
happy
flood
birthday.
because she's here today. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Shall we sing?
No singing. You got shot down.
You sing.
We'll keep that in the shower for those folks. Any other comments or requests for future items? My only comment was about the items that were brought up during the evaluation. Mr. Wells, I want to make sure that we're not breaking open meeting law, but if there are concerns, is that an email thread that can get sent out to the rest of the board so everybody knows sort of what's going on? I just don't want it to be, I want to close the loop on
Yeah,
that and make
Let's
sure.
have some conversation perhaps later. Mr.
Okay.
Chair. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing that. Doesn't look like there's anything else. We'll go ahead and leave it, and we will adjourn at 10:31. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.